Cool. Right, I think we are live. Tiny, can you just close that door so the neighbours don't get frightened when I start screaming and shouting?
Yeah, good idea.
Right. So, anyone coming to join me for this evening's coaching? I have to say that today is one of my favourite days. Oh, there we go. There's lots of people coming. Cool bananas. Excellent. So, how was today? How was today's mission? Any comments? Anyone like to give me their feedback on it? Anyone like to let me know how they feel about it? Different? Certainly, I think you will understand what I'm saying when people often pay like a lip service to trading as a business, but it's quite different when you actually do it, isn't it? It's actually when you dive into it, what it actually means to trade as a business. So, hello, Monica. How's it going? How are you doing? It's easier for me to watch my Apple as it is to look at my PC. The feedback gets quicker. It's much quicker when I watch on my Apple. It's like, what's not to love about Apple? The only reason I have a PC is for my trading. All right, so Monica, great. You learned a lot. That is brilliant. That is excellent. Hi, Doug. How are you doing? How did you find it? So, hello, Mona. Fabulous. Hi, Mona. That made a massive difference to me, because I don't know if I told you the story, but I first got into trading many years ago. A long time ago. Too long. And I was the accountant on the trading floor for oil and gas at an oil and gas company, and learned a lot about trading, learned a lot about business, and I left it, and I've set up many businesses over the years, and I've always had a yearning to go back to trading, and eventually I went back, 2015-ish, went back to it, and I decided I was going to do forex trading, because it seemed to be the most accessible and certainly the most liquid from my research. So I decided to get into forex trading. So I did some training, and I did some training, and I must tell you that I fell for all the pitfalls, right? I was chasing shiny objects. I was complicating it. I was using dozens of different indicators. I was looking for every friggin' instrument under the sun that I could try and trade. I was sitting at my laptop for too many hours a day, and it got to a point, and I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to be really honest with you and be really vulnerable. I got to a point where I was supposed to be going to meet a friend of mine, right? And she had been offered an opportunity to go and talk in India. Really good friend of mine, and she speaks to large groups of women about menopause. And she had an opportunity to go and speak in India. So she asked her in Cambridge. She lives just up the road in Cambridge. We're in London. She lives in Cambridge. So we set a date and a time and whatever. I was meant to get a train at about 9:30 in the morning to get up to her. And at 9:30 in the morning, cut a long story short, I was still sitting in front of my computer watching a bloody trade, willing this bloody trade to stay away from stop loss and go to take profit. And I phoned her at about 10 to say, and I lied to my friend. And I said, listen, train's cancelled. I don't know what's going on. I'll let you know when I can get the next one. Anyway, I lied, and eventually I got back to my watching of the trade, because I couldn't possibly leave it, because like me watching it was going to make all the difference, right? And eventually I did leave, and I did get the train, and I went to meet with her, because the idea was that we would go shopping for an outfit for her to go to do her talk in India. And anyway, so we went shopping, and well, at least rather, she went shopping, and I followed her with my phone in my hand, watching the bloody trade still, right? So, and the whole bloody day, she was trying on outfits and all this sort of thing, and I'm watching my phone. And she's been so polite. She didn't at one point say, "Get that off your phone," right? She was so polite. She was so compassionate, right? If it was me, I'd have done that. But anyway, I eventually got back home to London, met my husband for a lovely evening, supposedly, in London. And the whole time again, I'm on my phone the whole evening. We're in this lovely restaurant. Anyway, at that point, the trade lost, and I freaked out. At 10 o'clock at night, the trade lost, and I freaked out. And Tiny said to me, "It's one trade. It's 50 quid. Get a life." I mean, it was crazy. It was 50 bloody quid. And I was like, I was crying. I was upset. I was beside myself. And I was a failure. And I was useless. And I couldn't do this. And Tiny's looking at me thinking, who is this woman? And it was like, when I sort of like stood back and looked at it, it was pretty scary, because I didn't recognize who I had become, because I had spent 25 years starting all sorts of different businesses, pioneering businesses where I had to risk and invest huge amounts of money. I mean, millions amounts of money. I mean, massive amounts of money. And stood to gain or lose millions. And here I was freaking out about a bloody 50 quid trade. Anyway, so that was bad enough. 2 days later, I practically was doing it again. Only this time I was punching my desk, screaming at my computer. And at that moment, to sound dramatic, I had an out-of-body experience, right? So I was actually watching myself, right? I wasn't really, but you can imagine the sort of scenario where I caught myself like acting like a crazy woman. And I thought, this is ridiculous. There is absolutely no way on earth would I have ever been successful in any of my businesses had I ever had this approach. So something's going fundamentally wrong here. So I took a step back, stopped trading, took a step back and looked at what is it that's so different. Now, apart from what we spoke about yesterday, about Forex trading, putting a magnifying glass on your weaknesses and your foibles and your character traits, right? Apart from that, I had a lot of hope and gamble approach to my trading, but I also had inconsistent approach. So almost like a hobbyist obsession. That's the best word for it. Bloody session on my trading. That none of my businesses ever did do for me. I never became overly obsessed by them. Became passionate, but not over obsessed by them. So when I took a step back, and I thought, okay, so what's going on here? And that's what started me on the journey to where I am now, having created the Tribe of Traders and hundreds of traders around the world, and having completely different experience with trading. Because the first thing I did was I said, right, I've got a track record in being successful in business, right? I've a track record. So what do I do in business that's different to trading? And how can I marry them? And that's when I started sort of like formulating what I now call the Genius Trading Model, which forms three primary concepts. And the first one is trading as a business. And when you start looking at what it means to really trade as a business, everything starts to change, absolutely everything. Because you start to get less attached to your losses, more looking at it from a business perspective. So what are your sales? What are the cost of sales? What's my gross profit? And what are my expenses? What's my net? And who is my audience? And this is when I started exploring, instead of just going shotgun approach and trading absolutely everything I could under the sun, I started to niche down and started to get intimate with a smaller number of instruments and started to understand how they flow, to the point now where I have 3 instruments that I trade, and if they're set up for my strategy, I will trade those 3 before even looking at anything else. Without a second's thought, they will be my favorite because I understand how they trend. I'm in flow with them. There's also equally instruments in them, like, for example, I'll be honest with you, don't try and logicalize it because there's not much logic, but there's one instrument of the main instruments that we trade that I won't trade, and that's euro pound. I can't trade it. I just can't trade it. I have a whole host of beliefs wrapped up in it, perceptions wrapped up in it. I can't trade it. Every time I do, I lose. So why trade it? But the others, like the others that I love, are pound Swiss, euro Swiss, Aussie Kiwi. Weird, I know. Yeah, they're particularly unusual instruments to like because they sort of like very alike. They follow each other, but they're the ones that I prefer. But they're the ones I know. That's how I get my high success rate. That's how I get to be consistent, because I know the instruments I understand. I know the instruments I don't trade. It's like having a target audience. If you had a business, you're not going to try and sell butter coffee to bulletproof coffee to a 5-year-old. You know what I'm saying? You're going to sell bulletproof coffee to a professional. You know your target market. The same as you're not going to try and sell a lollipop to an adult, most likely. You're going to try and sell a lollipop to a 10-year-old. You know what I'm saying? You know your target market. And it's the same with trading. It's the very same with trading. And getting to understand as well, and getting to grips with what your success rate is. And when you understand what your success rate is, and that's what you focus on rather than winning or losing trades. Okay? Actually, there's actually something I learned over the weekend. Paradoxical intention. Lose the attachment to winning or losing and start focusing on your success rate. Promise you, that alone will start shifting your results. I promise you that. Stop focusing on what trades you win and what trades you lose and how many trades you lose and how many trades you win, okay? Focus on the success rate. Because at the end of the day, and you're running a business, yes, you're looking at increasing your sales and you're looking at managing your cost of sales and making sure your cost of sales are lower than your sales. But at the end of the day, what a business person focuses on is gross profit. And that gross profit is as a percentage of the whole, right? That gross profit is the percentage of the sales. Your success rate is exactly that. It's your gross profit. Does that make sense? So focus on that and not the individual trades. Because when you understand that you have a success rate, when you start focusing on that and focusing and setting your intention around having, depending on the strategies you trade, like for example, Pogo and Bagsy have an average, as I said to you yesterday, 84% success rate each month. My average success rate each month is on average, it's like 74%. It's been so I can go through 2 or 3 months of 100% success rate, but on average, if I take those out, it's a 74% success rate. So I know that if I lose a couple of trades, it doesn't matter, because I know at the end of the month, it all evens out and I'm going to come out with 74% success rate. It makes a huge difference. Can you see that? Leave me a thumbs up if that makes sense to you. So Doug, makes me realize how much work is still ahead of me. I think possibly I wouldn't necessarily state that, because like when you state it, you're making that a fact, yeah. But what I would like you to, what I would rather think you would be wise to think is, now I've got the information, now I can start implementing it. You know what I'm saying? Because when you start implementing it, the sooner you start implementing it, the sooner you will get the results that you would love. Okay? So obviously, for me, this is why it's important to trade strategies that have a high success rate. Okay. And I think it's important as wealth builders, if you, because the second thing is in the genius trading model is that you're a money manager. And as I've always said to you right from day one, that you are I've said to you right from day one that you're not a trader, you're a wealth builder. And a part of being a wealth builder is actually being a money manager. So I'm going to put it to you that you would be wise to trade strategies that have a high success rate. They may not have the track record of going 10 to 1s or 8 to 1s and stuff like that, but they have a high success rate, because at the end of the day, as a wealth builder or as a money manager, we protect our capital at all costs. That's why we have a sliding scale with the drawdown. Did everyone get that? Very important. That's why you have a sliding scale of drawdown. We call it drawdown, but it's not really drawdown. You should never ever actually be in drawdown. And again, I draw your attention to what I've been telling you over the past few days. If you're losing 2, 3, 4 trades, it's you got to ask yourself, is it me, the market, or the strategy? Because you need to do something about it. Don't just accept it. All right. It is not okay for you to ever blow an account. It's not okay, and it's not necessary. It is absolutely not necessary. Not one tribe of trader, not one trader in the tribe of traders has blown an account in the tribe of trader. Outside, when before they join, they're dead. Right. There's no need to. Absolutely. Once you adopt the mindset of being a money manager and also a wealth builder. Okay, so you manage your money. And that's why I think it's important to have strategies that are a high success rate, where you just slowly, gently, incrementally just chip away at the market, spending no more than 30 or so minutes a day at trading and building your account, compounding your account. I cannot think of a more powerful, more rewarding, or a faster way to compound your account than doing that. Now, obviously, there's compromise all the time, all right? So with a strategy that's got a high success rate, you might not get the massive 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 to 1s. You might not. Occasionally you will, but you might not. With the success rates, like with strategies with a lower success rate of 40, 50, 60%, those lower ones, you're going to need the multiples to 1. So you're going to need the trends. You're going to need the long runs. And it becomes a more, in my opinion, I'll be honest with you, I've done plenty of research on this and I've been working in it now for a number of years, is that it gets a little bit harder to do that. Whereas if you are a wealth builder, money manager, and you have a target of 5 years, you know how many trades you need to take in a month based on your success rate. You get a strategy with a high success rate, and you consistently bank 1 to 1s, 2 to 1s, 3 to 1s, 4 to 1s, and the odd 5 to 1. If that's your approach, that's slowly chipping away and completely stress-free. That's the important one, completely stress-free. And keeping your level of certainty, confidence high, keeping your levels of consciousness and self-awareness high in your trading. This is how to create effortless business and build wealth in trading. So if you have a strategy with a high success rate, it's easier to adopt that business sense where you focus on the success rate, you don't focus on the actual wins and the losses. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Hello, Nolan. Nolan has joined. Hello, Grace. Ruth, hi. Okay, so Ruth, you're struggling to see your trading as a business right now for various reasons. Did you get the document where I laid it out? Did you just fill out that document where I tell you what is your sliding scale? What is towards your target? What's your sliding scale towards when you're in a drawdown? How many trades you need to take? What's your success rate? So you need to fill all those out, and that can actually become. Remember, I said yesterday that what you could do is have a comprehensive trade plan. Because when you do that, when you sort of open that line of inquiry by really drilling in deep with having a comprehensive trade plan, you can extrapolate out of that a one-pager that is a summary of your trade plan. And that you might keep up on the wall in front of you or something like that. And along with your trade plan, every 3 or 4 months, you update it. You update that one pager, and part of on your worksheet that you'd have downloaded and completed today, you update that on an ongoing basis. Set the intention. Don't worry. Like, set the intention. I take 10 trades a month, and my target is 8%, and my success rate is 70%. That's what you focus on. It's not focusing on the winners or the losses. It's a very important difference. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. So I can see from the comments today that a lot of people found it very interesting. Just looking at the comments, a lot of people found today's exercise is very interesting. And I tell you, putting my entrepreneur's hat on way back a number of years ago, after that disastrous episode, it did start to change my trading completely, because I started to look at it so completely different. I became less attached to the outcome, less attached to each trade. And here's the other thing, very important. Obviously, this is how it all starts tying together, because if you've got a business, you've got a plan, right? You've got a 5-year, 10-year, 15-year plan. And as a trader, I suggest you have a 5-year plan minimum. And what is that target? You've done the find your number. What is your target in 5 years? And that's going to be the target that's going to give you a level of financial resilience, financial empowerment, certainly financial security. Okay, so you've got that as a plan. You now know what your business plan and your business approach is to trading, and that's how you trade. Now, here's the thing. It's one thing being aware of it, and we now know that we have to have a high level of self-awareness, understand what our beliefs are, what our relationship with money. You see how it's all beginning to tie in together. And you also then start losing attachment to the trades, because you're the sum of the number of trades you're going to take in your 5-year journey. You're not the sum of the one trade you took today or tomorrow or the last week that may have lost. That's not who you are. You're the sum of the trades. Okay? And it extends your time horizon. One of the biggest problems and one of the biggest issues, one of the biggest challenges for traders is they have a shrunken time horizon. And here's the thing. I want to let you into a little secret. Would you like to know why, in my opinion, women make better traders than men? Anyone would like to know that? Anyone would like to know that? I know there's a delay here. There's a delay here. If you would like to know why women make better traders than men. There is a delay here. I can see it on my Apple. All right. I will tell you. Men, when it comes to wealth building, this is not just in trading, it's actually in wealth building. And I think women need to embrace this. And that is, men need more immediate gratification. Women understand the concept of gestation. Okay, they understand that it takes 9 months to make a baby. All right, they understand that it takes time. They have to go through that process of falling pregnant and having the baby, and for 9 months, which often feels like an eternity. Okay, they understand the concept of gestation. They understand how things evolve. And I don't think men have got their head around that. And that's why, not all men, don't get me wrong, but a lot of men, that's why they tend to jump in, jump out, jump from one to the other, to another, to another. And that's why women who do get into trading adopt what I speak about. They more effortlessly and flowingly become more easily successful consistently than men. And I honestly believe that the understanding that gestation, that it takes time to make a baby, it takes time to build wealth, contributes to it being easier for women. So Grace, don't want to be right all the time. That is absolutely more organized. Nolan said more organized. Yeah, there is one that there is a tendency that women can be more organized, but not all women. Not all women. I would say it's the understand gestation, but I think also another part of it, Grace, is you're correct, is that women are less likely to need to be right all the time, and one of the reasons for that is because they're more the nurturers. It's more because they are the motherly figurehead. So, but and it does. I'd still believe that not needing to be right all the time does actually stem from the fact that women understand gestation. And I think that's what, so I would love to see a lot more women in trading. I would actually love to see more women in trading because they actually are a lot more, what's the word for it? They will take their time more and they will have a much more deeper sense of inquiry around self-awareness. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer for guys to adopt that willingness to embrace the fact that they actually need to do the mind work. And women tend to embrace that quicker. So not as analytical. That is another thing. Yep. Yep. Not as analytical. They're not as analytical, no, and probably not as much detail people generally. But anyway, it's massive generalization. That said, we've got plenty of guys in the tribe that are hugely successful. One of our guys, Michael, he told me, what day is today? Tuesday. Told me on Monday that last week he made 9%. Yeah, it's not bad going. So that's not bad going by anyone's standard in this market, okay? So we have a whole host of guys who are very successful. So it's not just men, but generally speaking, I think overall, if women, if women embrace this mindset approach to trading, this self-awareness and self-governance, they'll find it easier than men. So anyway, just an aside. It's not that important. The important thing is you can do it. Okay. Any other questions on this? Any other questions on trading as a business? The one thing that the one I would say biggest benefit of trading as a business is that it extends your time horizon. It allows you to look at your trading over a 5-year period. It allows you to understand and embrace the concept that you don't judge yourself based on this one trade or this 1 week or this 1 month, but it's the sum of the 5 years. All right, that's the first thing. The second thing is you lose attachment to the winning and the losing trades. You start focusing on a percentage success rate and basically working around that. You start focusing on instruments that you know and understand and relate to and are comfortable with, and you avoid the instruments that you're not comfortable with. There's no shame in that. None. It's okay. It doesn't have to be any logic behind it. I mean, there's no real logic for me not liking Euro pound. Yeah, but nothing against Euro, but nothing against Europe. So nothing against UK, nothing against the sterling. It's just put together, it just doesn't work for me. Okay. So it's important to it's what part of the trade plan will do is work to your strengths, acknowledge your weaknesses. When you know what you're dealing with, like I say, shine a torch in the dark areas, bring it to light, and you can deal with it. So tomorrow is important. Tomorrow morning, you're going to get a mission. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Let's keep the suspense. I told you what it was. I told you what today's was last night, but I'm not going to tell you what tomorrow's is. It is a really lovely one. It's a nice one. It's the last day tomorrow. It is a lovely mission. It's fun. All right. But it's still critical. Sorry, I'm just closing. I've just got messengers popping up here. It's critically important that you do it because it rounds off the past 6 days beautifully. And then tomorrow, I want you to be on the webinar tomorrow night. You will have got the links. I will post the link in the comments below. But the e-links have been emailed to you and they're in your members area as well. So come and join me. We'll spend about an hour or so together, or maybe an hour and 15 together tomorrow evening, and I will go deeper into how to tie them all together, all right? Because essentially what I want you to walk away from tomorrow, I want you to walk away with a strategy that allows you to trade 30 minutes a day, getting 74% success rate. Why would you not love that? Makes sense. So in my experience, I try to force a trade when the setup isn't there instead of walking and not trading. And Victor, yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because you know what, that is the same for so many traders. And here's the thing: this is why having a longer term view on your target, having a target and 5 years, knowing how many trades you want to take a month. Can I tell you a story? I'm not sure if I told you this story. One more story before I go. This is what I tell the guys in the tribe. So imagine that you are you're in space, right? You're in a spaceship. You're in a spaceship, and you have been told by NASA that you've been up there. Sorry, you've been up there for 2 years, right? You've not seen family. You've not set foot on land. You've been orbiting the planet, for 2 years. NASA contacts you and says, right, Paul, you have just 8 chances to get back to land in the next 22 days. 8 chances, therefore 8 trades, 22 days, average number of trading days in a month, right? So you've been dying to get home. You've been dying to hit terra firma. You've been dying to meet up and reconnect with family, yeah? You've been told you've got 8 chances to make it through the stratosphere and land safely on planet. You're going to make sure that every single one of those 8 opportunities count. You're going to take the highest probabilities that you're going to make sure they count. If that is the attitude, that's the approach you take. It takes the urgency. When you have that approach to it, it takes the urgency out, and it takes the need to be in the market away, and you have a much more relaxed approach to it. And you then, one of the jobs you need to do is to make sure you know what high probability looks like. What is high probability for you in that trade? It takes that urgency out of it. The other thing is, as well, is having a very clear vision. When you are driven by your vision, the longer term vision, your North Star, the focus, when you're driven by that, you don't necessarily need the immediate gratification. When you understand that that when you look to be in the market, when the moment you're tempted to do that, that is an alarm bell that needs to go off for you to say, whoa, I'm curve fitting. I'm trying to fit my strategy into a market that's not there. When you start opening your mind up to allowing the market to tell you what it's doing and what to trade, and allowing the market to tell you if it is right for your strategy or not, it's a different way of looking at it. When you have that perspective, you're not projecting your beliefs onto the market, and you're not likely to try and curve fit or try and force something. And you will be very okay with walking away and understanding that being out of the market is much an important part of wealth building as being in the market. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. So let's get together tomorrow evening, 7 o'clock. Let's spend an hour and a half or hour and a half, around thereabouts, and I'll put it all together, and you'll walk away with a strategy with trading, getting a 74% success rate in 30 minutes with a very clear target of what it is you want to get in 5 years based on your number. That's my intention. That's what I want you to get out of tomorrow. And I think I've given you a lot of food for thought and things that you can absolutely implement. And let's finish it off tomorrow. Okay, joining me tomorrow evening. Right, on that note, I shall love and leave you and see you tomorrow. All right, guys, any questions? Put them in the box below. Put them in the comments below. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay, and I shall catch you tomorrow. Take care. Lots of love. Bye.